Saturday, Sean McDermott, a very good football coach, has been dismissed. The Buffalo Bills, 10th team, a third of the league, 10th team looking for a head coach. And I think when you have Josh Allen, it's okay to demand greatness. Bill Walsh, Andy Reid, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Belichick. Josh Allen's the kind of quarterback that can win not one, not two, but 3 Super Bowls. McDermott's a good man and a good coach, but the Bills kept finding ways to lose. The 13-second loss to Kansas City. Saturday, there's 5 turnovers and Bo Nix up and down the field, 300-plus yards. I mean, there was the tush push last year. They couldn't get that right. The last 3 years, Buffalo has lost fourth-quarter leads in all games. All of their losses, they lost fourth-quarter leads. It was time. Not quite buttoned up. The general manager, in my opinion, Brandon Beane, more of a cap guy than a personnel guy, hasn't done McDermott any favors. The wide receiver core is mostly anemic. There are no Pro Bowlers on the defensive side. Even James Cook, Josh Allen's best teammate, leads all running backs in fumbles. But Saturday wasn't a loss. It was a reckoning. It felt different. The locker room was 55 broken men. McDermott, mad at the officiating, I get it. But when John Elway was in Denver, they moved off Dan Reeves. Dan Reeves had been to 3 Super Bowls. Dan Reeves was a great coach, but not great enough for John Elway's talent. And Sean McDermott, again, 8 playoff wins. That is the most ever in league history by any coach that hasn't appeared in a Super Bowl. He's a coach. He's a good coach. I'll be honest. I think he would go to the Raiders and get that act figured out really quickly. I'd hire him in 1 second in Las Vegas. But each loss hurt more. Each loss mounted. 13-second loss. Can't get the tush push right. Blowing fourth-quarter leads. Saturday, Bo Nix kind of did what he wanted. 5 turnovers on offense. And it feels like Josh Allen so often is pressing to put on a cape, get in a phone booth, come out and make a play to overcome his lack of receiving help, or a defense that can be good at times, but isn't special, not as good as the Rams, not even as good as the injury-plagued Niners, certainly not Seattle or Houston. So this is a great job. I'm sitting here this morning thinking John Harbaugh and Kevin Stefanski are probably checking their contracts to make sure the ink is dry. But over the last, starting in 2020 until today, they're second in the NFL in wins, first in points per game, first in point differential. A lot of it's Josh Allen. Maybe most of it's Josh Allen. You can't go Mike McCarthy. His teams, like McDermott, feel like they're not quite buttoned up. They shrink in the playoffs. Can't go McCarthy. More of the same. Jeff Hafley, Jesse Mintor, great defensive coordinators, but we want to go with a defensive coach? How about somebody that's proven? In my opinion, Brian Daboll won a playoff game with Daniel Jones, former offensive coordinator that really took Josh Allen to the next level. So Sean McDermott's got 8 playoff wins. You can do a lot worse than Sean McDermott. But for Buffalo, it's different. Josh Allen changes the calculus. The standard changes when you get an Elway, when you get a Peyton Manning. You got to have a Belichick, a Walsh, an Andy Reid, a Jimmy Johnson. I don't know if Brian Daboll's that. But John Harbaugh's off the market. Jim Harbaugh's off the market. Sean Payton's taken. So is Mike Vrabel. To me, Brian Daboll, who's been in that room, who's worked with Josh, is an offensive guy, will squeeze every ounce out of this star quarterback. And at this point, to me, that's the answer. Okay, under Sean McVay, the Rams prove once again, regardless of weather, this warm weather indoor football team goes to Chicago. They don't have a single penalty. They don't have a single turnover. Folks, they didn't have, we looked it up, a dropped pass. And that's why they beat the Bears. In a windy snow game earlier in the day, there were 8 turnovers. They didn't have a drop pass. Chicago was more spectacular. Chicago had more yards. Chicago won time of possession. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, had the throw of the decade, playoffs or regular season. But this LA team played more efficiently and played cleaner. I mean, again, I'm not saying Chicago's not more fun to watch. The Rams only had 3 drives all day: an opening drive, a fourth quarter drive, and an overtime drive. So much in football is about not losing games. And the team that lost the turnover battles yesterday and this weekend, they went 0 for 4. The Rams did not drop a pass in this weather. So I thought when all you needed to do was win the game in overtime, it was 2nd and 8. I thought the Bears should have been trying to get a first down and not a touchdown. I thought Caleb Williams, who has grown so much as a player, he is so much better than he was 8-9 weeks ago. I thought he bit off a little too much in overtime. They just needed a field goal. They just needed points. And he went uptown. And that's the very nature of Caleb Williams. The upside, the jet fuel, the horsepower. I mean, he is V8 plus. But he's not quite ready. He has improved so much from week 3 to now. I mean, again, this is, I think there's 4 quarterbacks in league history that can make this play. 4. The Rams weren't perfect, beat on the back end, but you get all the upside, but I thought he took a little too big of a bite in overtime, and Chicago's not going anywhere. They're young, they're athletic, they're inexpensive at quarterback, star tight end, running back, receiver, slot, perimeter. This is a really good Chicago team. Dennis Allen had a great Sunday night. They don't have nearly as much defensive talent, especially in the box, as the Rams do. And yet they were aggressive. They got to Matt Stafford multiple times while their offensive line did not surrender a sack. There were so many things to like about the Bears. Time of possession, big plays, more yards, more spectacular, whereas the Rams' defensive talent is young, explosive, and inexpensive. That's the Bears primarily on offense. So the Rams came down on the opening drive, take a 7-0 lead. Bears don't buckle. You got the Rams taking that lead late in the game, and the Bears don't buckle. So they're good. They're not going anywhere. But the Bears, to me, feel like they're almost there. And the Rams feel like they are there again. Listen, you look over the course of the weekend, there's 2 or 3 things that are absolute. And the team that had the most turnovers, you know, whether it's a Buffalo or it's a Houston or it's a Chicago, the reality is when you get to the best coaches and the best rosters and the best game plans, weather becomes less of a factor, and not letting a ball hit the ground. For the weather to be that bad, McVay looked freezing. They didn't have a drop pass. That's insane. I mean, Kyron Williams, what do you have, 20-some carries? Bears were pulling on his arm and pulling on the ball for 3.5 hours, and the ball never hit the ground. Puka Nacua, hammered, pulling the ball up. Ball never hit the ground. No penalties, no turnovers. More impressive is no drop passes. That is the Rams, who now go on the road with an extra quarter played and 1 day less rest than the Seahawks. They are and should be underdogs in the NFC Championship.